Hi, I'm Shelley Jones. Welcome to Learning Math with Dr. Jones. Our Facebook group will post a daily math lesson Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time throughout the month of August. All right, so let's see. It says eliminate parentheses. I don't have any of those. I can't combine any like terms. I only have an S, a variable, and a constant. So now I just need to start using the inverse operations in order to isolate the variable. Oh, and that's something I didn't write down. I should have had that there. I want to isolate the variable, meaning I want to get the variable S on one side, either the left side or the right side of the equal sign, so that all of the S's are over here, and that's it, just the S. That's what I mean by isolate. You know what I mean because we've done this. So let's see, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And this is the thing. I look at the numbers and I make decisions on what I want to do first. It doesn't mean that you're going to do the exact same steps as me, except for obviously, if you're doing order of operations, it should be the same. We should be eliminating the parentheses and doing what's in the parentheses first and the exponents. But in terms of doing that inverse operations, it just depends on how you want to do it. Someone else could have said, oh, I want to subtract S from both sides. Since I have an S over there, I want to subtract S. So it's up to you what you want to do. So when I add 8 to both sides, a -8 and a +8 cancels out. It's 0. That's what I mean by cancels out, because 2S plus or minus 0 is still 2S. So on this side, I still have a 2S. On this side, I have a 5S plus 14 because I add 6 plus 8. Now I want to divide both sides, which is the inverse operation of multiply, right? What's being done to the S? It says 2S, meaning 2 times S. The inverse operation for multiply is divide, so I want to divide both sides by 2. And I think all of you know this, but it's a matter of practicing. That's what the Math Foundations is all about. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 times S is S. So we say the 2's cancel, but that's what we mean by cancel. We get a 1, 1 times S is just S. And then over here, oh, wait a minute, I forgot a step. I don't want to do that yet. I still had an S over there, 2S. So I want to add 5S to both sides. Okay. Sorry about that. And that's okay. We all make mistakes. The thing is when I recognize the mistake, I'm saying, wait a minute. I didn't isolate the variable yet. I did not get all of the S's to one side. I had an S over here and an S over there. You need to recognize when you make a mistake like that, and then you need to just backtrack. So it's best if you use pencil, especially on the test. So I want to, instead of subtracting 5S, I want to add 5S to both sides. So I want to add 5S to both sides. And 2 plus 5 is 7S because I have just an S. So I can add an S with an S. A 5S and a -5S cancels out, or that's 0. 0 plus 14 is 14. And then now I want to divide both sides by 7 in this case, because 7 times S. So 7 times S, the inverse is divide by 7. So 7 over 7 is 1. 1 times S is S. And I end up with S equals, let's see, 14 divided by 7 is 2. One of the steps that we talked about yesterday was going back to verify. So if I take this 2 and I put the S equals 2 here, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then a -5 times S, -5 times 2 is a -10. If I were to add this side, all the numbers on this side, all the numbers on this side, it should equal each other. All right, so I'm going to leave that up to you to do. Okay, number 2 is over here. Okay, so we do have a parenthesis here. We have 2x plus 3, but there's nothing I can do to that. I cannot add an x with a 3. But what I can do is I can distribute this -1 times everything inside. So I have 20 minus 2x minus 3. -1 times 2 and -1 times 3. Okay, and then 13 minus 4x. So now I can actually combine some like terms because I have a constant here, a 20, and I have a -3. So basically 20 minus 3. Now, if you want, whenever you subtract, you can also add the opposite, right? And so I could say 20 plus a -3, but I don't need to. 20 minus 3 is pretty simple. 20 minus 3 is 17. So 17 minus 2x equals 13 minus 4x. So now I need the 17 to go over there and then the 4x to come over here. So I'm going to subtract the 17 from both sides. I'm going to do them both at the same time. And then I'm going to add the 4x. And the only reason I'm doing both at the same time is because I'm running out of room. All right. So let's think about this. When I subtract 17 from both when I subtract 17 from both sides, 17 minus 17 is 0. So that side is 0 plus whatever will just be that. So that is fine. And then over here, minus 4x and a plus 4x also cancels. So let's see what I'm left with. A minus 2x and a plus 4x. Well, 4 minus 2 is 2. And the 2 is going to be positive because the 4 is bigger than the 2. The absolute value of the 4 is bigger than the absolute value of the minus 2. So that's 2x equals a -17 and a 13. So I have a negative and a positive. I subtract and take the sign of the larger absolute value. So 17 minus 13 is 4. 17 is bigger than 13, not -17, but the absolute value. 17 is bigger than 13, larger than, and so my answer is negative there. Divide both sides by 2 because I want to get that x alone, right? So x equals, so over here, I have x equals a -2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Negative divided by positive is negative. So when I have the same sign and I'm multiplying and dividing, I get a positive. But when I have two different signs, my result is negative. So there's a lot of little things you have to remember as you're going through this. Okay, so let's see, 3/5. So here again, I have a parenthesis, but I cannot do anything with a 40v and a 15. One's a variable, one's a constant, right? So what I'm going to do is distribute this 3/5 throughout. So I have 40 v, 40 over 1 v times 3/5 minus 15 over 1 times 3/5. So equals 39. So basically I'm saying 3/5 times 40 and 3/5 times 15. I put a 1 under each to make a whole number fraction so that I can just go across and multiply, right? Again, for me, I always like to cancel when I can. And when you multiply, basically you're saying 3 times 40 over, this should be, okay. So 3 times 40 over 5 times 1. Or what I can do is I can say 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 40 8 times. So I can actually simplify there. So 3 times 8 is 24 v because it's 24 over 1. And then this one is, let's see, it's 45 divided by 5, or again, I could say 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 15 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. Equals 39, right? So I did this, 24v minus, I did this, I got a 9 equals 39. Now I have to add 9 to both sides. 24v, this cancels out, and that equals 48. Okay. And 24 times V, the inverse operation would be divide. So divide both sides by 24. Those cancel, and I'm left with V equals 2, because 48 divided by 24 is 2. So this is the type of work you're going to do. You'll probably get about 4 of these, just like on the review. And again, you'll probably get 4 or 5 of the percent change. The percent change will come in word problems, and so you'll have different things that you have to think about. I'm going to turn this back around because there was one scenario that I forgot to mention. Okay, let's finish this though. So here I don't have any parentheses, so I don't have any exponents. Probably on your test, you'll probably have at least an exponent somewhere. I mean, I know that you know how to work with exponents. So now I can combine like terms. So I have a 5x and a minus 9x, right? If you need to, you can say plus a negative. If that helps you, then do that. So I have a negative 9 and a positive 5. So when I have a negative and positive, I subtract and take the sign of the larger. 9 minus 5 is 4x, but I had more negatives. I had 9 negatives and only 5 positives, so my answer is a negative 4. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9. The absolute value of 5 is 5. 9 is larger than 5, so I take the sign of the larger absolute value. I still have a plus 8 here, equals, okay, let's see, I have a 55 plus 8. So that is a 63. 55 plus 8, that's a 63 minus 8x. Let's see, I can subtract 8 from both sides, and I get a negative 4x. That cancels. 8 minus 8 is 0. A negative 4x plus 0 is 0, equals 63 minus 8. Let's see, 63, take away the 3, that's 60, and then 5 more, 55. 55 minus 8x. Now, in order to isolate the variable, I want all the x's to be on my left-hand side, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides. 8x, excuse me. A positive 8 and a negative 4. 8 minus 4 is 4x, equals, these cancel. A negative 8x and a positive 8x cancel, equals 55. Now I have 4 times x. The inverse operation is divide. Divide both sides by 4. And in this case, the 4's cancel. 4 over 4 is 1. 1 times x is x. The 4's cancel. So I get x equals 55 over 4.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Jones. I'm excited to announce the 1-year anniversary of my best-selling book, Women Who Count, honoring African American women mathematicians. Meet me on Sunday, September 13th at 2 p.m. to celebrate Women Who Count, because representation matters. Stay tuned for a special panel discussion with mathematicians featured in the book, giveaways including a Katherine Johnson t-shirt, and activities from the book. Please register on Eventbrite for Women Who Count's 1-year celebration.